Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of Unwrapped. My name is Daria. Most of you know me as WWE Superstar, formerly WWE Superstar Sonya Deville. This is my beautiful wife.
Yeah, and I am Toni, the beautiful wife, and I'm here today spilling all the secrets about all the plastic surgery and all the fillers and all the things I've done, we've done. We're talking about it all because we have a special guest today. Our face filler, I don't even know what you would call him.
Botoxer,
does all the things.
Aesthetic aficionado, the best, New Jersey's best, the world's best, Dr. Tutela.
Surgeon.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Just to let the people know. So we found you, are your clients allowed to be public if they're on your Instagram and stuff?
Yeah,
is that
I mean, the ones
HIPAA?
that
I mean,
they're
talk
on
about
Instagram.
It. Yeah, they're on Instagram. A lot of them
I don't
are.
want to out anybody.
Yeah.
Jenny's on your Instagram.
Well, like
yeah.
half the cast of Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
Half
for
the
sure.
cast of Jersey Shore is on your
Yes.
Instagram. Okay, I didn't want to HIPAA anybody.
It's on Instagram. It's public knowledge.
We got him from Jenny, right?
I forget.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we got you from Jenny, or one of the cast members on Jersey Shore. We saw you popping up
Yeah.
on our mutual friends, and we were like, oh, we need a local.
Yeah. Yep.
And we came in, and you were amazing. And then next thing you know, we're having a Christmas party. You and your beautiful family
Yes.
are at our Christmas party.
It's awesome.
Which just
had a
means
great
we
night.
see you way too often.
You do.
Now we've become best friends.
You do. I actually have not got my lips done since before my wedding.
Oh.
Since before our wedding.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that true?
All right. Yeah.
It is true.
Yes.
I came in and got
Yes.
confirmed. I came in and
don't
got
know.
tox, but I did not come for the lips again.
Right.
They were pleasantly plump before the wedding, and they've stayed plump.
Yeah. Means you're not working out hard enough. Just kidding.
Really? Just roasting me.
Just kidding. Just
Wait,
kidding.
I need to talk about what I'm drinking right now because this is very rare that I have an alcoholic beverage on here. But I was talking about it on last week's episode. Me and my dad went golfing on Father's Day, the Cutwater vodka transfusions. So I brought them here to show you guys it's not a paid advertisement. This is just how much I like them. Dr. Tutela was sipping on one upstairs. He left it up there.
Delicious.
Aren't they good?
They're great.
Sponsor us. Okay, I'm going to send this to them.
This morning she was like, try it.
Why is it so
And
good?
I tried it. I'm like, okay, it's exactly what I thought it would taste like. But I don't get the...
The hype?
Yeah.
I think it's a great combination of flavors. It's also like...
It's grape juice.
It's grape juice. It's grape juice, ginger beer, and vodka.
Yeah.
It's exactly
good.
what it tastes like, guys.
Yeah.
But I haven't
Grape
had,
juice,
I haven't had,
vodka.
I've never thought to mix an alcoholic beverage with grape juice because I haven't had grape juice since like the 4th grade.
Right.
So it was new to me.
I like it.
It's good. He likes it. It's a lot of calories. I wish there was a health conscious version, but it's okay. Anyway, cheers to Cutwater.
It's so good. All right, guys. So I'm actually probably most excited for this episode as I was for ayahuasca, I think, because
Big statement.
we don't talk about it on here often, but I don't want to say big fan of plastic surgery, but I find it fascinating is what I should say.
Well, you've always wanted to be in like the health
Yeah.
medical field. Is that
Yeah.
fair to say? So like you
Yeah, like dealing with
surgeries
any
and
kind of
stuff
gross
like-
stuff. Yes.
Yeah, she loves that stuff.
Did we tell you I was in the room when she had her knee surgery last year?
No.
I got to be in there, yeah.
Patella
Really?
replacement. What
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah, he was literally like took the patella muscle, like the tendon with the bone attached to it. He was like pretending it was a bracelet and putting it up, and he was like making
messing with
jokes
Toni.
with me in the surgery room.
You were in the room?
I'm just out cold.
So
I'm
knee
annoying.
bent, which I was surprised about. Yeah, knee bent, cut open. It was crazy.
Ugh. I'd rather die than see. Like you even poking me with a needle is traumatized. Like I hate it. I hate it all. Like I'll fight MMA and get punched in the face all day long. I
Right.
don't know why that's.
Peptides for a long time, and you injected yourself.
Yeah, just a little in the stomach though. That was like that wasn't bad, but it took me a minute to get used to.
Yeah,
Why'd you make that face? It wasn't the stomach.
because I almost feel like it's worse when you have to do it to yourself than like somebody else doing something.
I think it's a control thing. When he's like going in and like you're doing it quick and it's like
Right.
10 stabs in a row. I'm like, oh my God. But you numb me. So
I'm not gonna lie. I will say, do other people tell you this Botox is more painful than anything else?
Not usually. Not
So-
usually.
just Tony.
Something about the Botox
But-
right here, it's so sensitive.
Yeah.
And I think it hurts so bad. I'm
I
like,
think one of the things is that it makes a really peculiar sound that like echoes in your head, and it kind of like sounds like Rice Krispies.
It's crunchy.
Yeah, it's crunchy.
It's crunchy, which is
Yeah.
really freaky. It
yeah,
probably freaks
and
people
it
out.
echoes in your head.
but I still feel like the little things here hurt more. When you do my cheek,
Yeah.
that's a crunch in there. That's a pretty big crunch. Did you ever do that?
Yeah, it goes deep into the bone.
yeah.
You like
Right.
feel it in
And
the
you can
bone.
feel
But
it.
I don't feel like it hurts.
Yeah.
Fair. It's
Yeah.
almost like an achy joint pain for a
yeah.
second, and then it's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we have so many questions for you. You're a fascinating person to talk to. Not only because like you do some of the most, prominent stars and faces in New Jersey's aesthetic work, but also because I feel like you're so personable and you're so cool and you're so down to earth.
It doesn't mix.
Thank you.
It doesn't and you don't look like you've had any plastic surgery done. Like you're so natural and like it doesn't mix. But you're so cool when we met you. We were like, oh my God, we're gonna be best friends.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I had a lot of questions to ask you. First, what do you do when people come to you and they want to get things done and it's too far or it's too much? Like, do you have a moral
Like they're like, give me
1,000
cc's.
Sure.
like how do you regulate that?
One, I think I've been pretty blessed with my patient population. Everybody is like so reasonable for the most part.
Really?
I have some people who are like a little unreasonable, but I've not gotten any like totally out of the field, requests. Maybe recently I had somebody come to me, but it was for like weight loss medication for somebody who was like already rail thin. There was nothing else to lose. Like maybe she did have like one little area that would like resistant to diet and exercise.
Right.
And she's like, ever since I had my babies, I can't get rid of this. And like, but globally, there wouldn't be weight to lose.
Was it my sister?
No.
Your sister.
Well, because he pointed to the love handle situation, and I know no matter how thin I ever got, I had this weird love handle thing in the back.
Yeah.
I have had it removed, but my sister could, I don't know.
No, but it's common. It's common. So that was like the only person, and she wasn't being unreasonable.
Right.
But it was like really one of the only things that was like really asked of me that the answer was no.
So you say no?
Yeah.
What
But
if she was like, can you do lipo in this one spot to get rid of it?
So that we could do.
Yeah.
That we could do, but she wasn't interested in that.
She wanted Ozempic or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
exactly.
Interesting.
I didn't know that was something you did.
What?
You like coach people through weight loss like supplements like that?
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always scared. The Ozempic like fad scares me only because I'm like, I feel like I would get too skinny. Like I feel like
But you're fit.
Right.
So, I think it does a really incredible job with so many people.
You're a fan of it?
Yeah. So many people are, stuck or have tried diet and exercise and it didn't work or just don't have the grit to do it.
Yeah, fair.
And it really helps a lot of people who otherwise would not be losing that weight.
That's actually so
and
valid.
it's gone.
But they have to stay on it though.
They can stay on a maintenance dose or, they can come off of it slowly and try to just, bridge into, a more healthy lifestyle. And I think a lot of times once you get over that hump and you have somebody losing like 120 pounds, 140 pounds.
Wow, cool.
And now all of a sudden they look like 20 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And, they feel great. A lot of times, like, that's the motivation that you need to then
be healthier in general.
And it's easier to just maintain than to lose.
100%.
Right?
Now that you say that, I do know a guy. I've known him for years and years. He's always been overweight. And, like, his size has always been, like, his biggest kryptonite. Like it's on the front of his mind every single day. It's a topic of conversation every single day. And I know that it was weighing on him literally and metaphorically for so long.
Yeah.
And he did Ozempic. And that was the first time I was like, okay, I'm a believer. I'm a supporter because it changed his entire life.
Yeah.
He shed probably like 85 pounds, I think he said. And it was like a complete game changer. Like it put him in a stratosphere that he would never otherwise had been in. And now he goes to the gym religiously.
Right.
Yeah.
He watches what he eats because he just needed that little kind of kick in the ass. Like,
And it's not like some brand new drug that's like could have all these side effects in 30 years.
It's been out for a long time.
Forever.
We know what the risks are.
What are the risks? I don't know that I've ever heard of any.
Mainly just GI issues. So like nausea, it could affect your gallbladder and get like cholecystitis. You could get pancreatitis, but those are all like
you can get them anyway.
No, but it's like less than 1%, let's say, on these medications. So, you should be aware of them, right? Because if you are having like this kind of intense abdominal pain, you need to be, seen by a doctor. You don't want to ignore it. But, for the most part, I mean, the safety profile is pretty good and, and it works.
Advil has worse warnings on the label. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything,
Right, yeah.
this
Sure.
alcoholic beverage, like, I feel like everything now is like, there's
Unhealthy.
a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's
Everything's
something.
unhealthy. You might as well be skinny.
Yeah, literally.
Right.
Let's talk. That got off, and I think all of it's like
Yeah.
so fascinating. But I want to talk about like surgery stuff.
Okay.
We want to talk about like weird DMs that you get. People requesting. I know we already talked about like what people actually come in to see, but do you
Yeah.
get like
I would
do
say
you still see a lot of like BBLs?
less.
Less.
Way less. It actually turned off
Interesting.
like a light switch
Why?
when the Kardashians'
Stopped
rear
being-
end stopped being so large.
When they stopped growing.
Wait,
Really.
Well, I think
Like
they
a
were
light
the ones
switch.
that made it.
Of
Exactly.
course,
in the
of
first
course. Everyone
Yeah.
wanted a Kim K
And they
booty.
like reversed it and like
Wait,
a light switch.
can we talk about that for a second? Like, is that not fascinating that
Yeah,
one
it's
family is
incredible.
so fucking influential to the point where
Incredible.
Well, look at they actually all went and got really thin, and then all of a sudden Ozempic became the hot new thing.
No, it's true. It's incredible how much
That's
they can sway
insane.
popular opinion on looks, on aesthetics, on everything.
well, that's why everything is brand partnerships now, influencer deals, like 'cause at the touch of your finger. I mean, we have a 13-year-old Giovanna, and like everything she sees on TikTok, she now in some way is
yeah.
impressed by.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? She
Right.
comes home like, oh, I want to do this. Where'd you see that? TikTok.
I mean,
Yeah.
when else would a 12-year-old want to be going to Sephora?
Right.
100%.
When we were growing
my
up, that
God,
wasn't
I'm
a thing.
so
No,
over
but
it.
now Sephora's just like their favorite place to be.
Imagine like when we were kids, like asking our parents to take us to like Macy's makeup department and get us a bunch of makeup.
Right.
Like
No, I was getting like the cheap little stuff from Walmart. It wasn't even Elf because it was like
Elf is a great brand now.
it's
but
like the cheap
CoverGirl
brand.
and, like
No, but like cheaper. Like
I don't know.
like the off brand. That's what I was getting.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It makes me so angry.
it does. I know.
It
And then
literally
every birthday they get the Ulta gift cards, the Sephora
Right.
gift cards. I
Yep.
mean, that's like what it's about.
That's it.
So, what is the number one celebrity comparison you get from clients saying, "I want to look like so and so"? So people come in like,
So really, that doesn't even happen all that much.
Really?
really?
Where I see more people, and there's nobody necessarily whose names that I know.
Right.
It'll be like models or somebody they know on Instagram. So people will kind of just have like little screenshots.
like of their nose, like a picture or
of
something
exactly,
like
more than just like one celebrity.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like people from Instagram. They're like, I really like her breasts, the way they look like this in this
that. And
dress.
you're like, well, your body is different.
Well, of course.
And her
Yeah.
photo's edited. So.
of course.
Yeah.
What about like noses? If someone comes in there, like, I want my nose to be more like, I don't know what you do with the nose. I don't even know.
Whatever.
Can you just like give them that nose?
So yes and no, it really depends, and that's where like there's a lot of really cool software where you can change somebody's body, whether it's their nose or their breasts or whatever. I find I don't use them because I feel like it gives people false expectations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially like then when you could print out that picture and they're like,
That doesn't
well,
look like
that's-
me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
it's,
that's
I think
dangerous.
it's just a slippery slope. But a lot of people use it, and that's fine. But I think it's just better to just try to manage people's expectations, in person during the consult.
Right.
Like for breast stuff, we try on sizers because mainly the main thing is, how big you want to go or how small. When it comes to nose, I mean, we definitely look at their pictures and tell them what parts can be altered. But I think to give them a final result, electronically, I think,
No.
is not great. But a lot of people do that. It's not wrong. It's just, I don't love to do
Right.
that.
Well, you're not like, when you do a rhinoplasty, like, you can't just like reconstruct skin on a nose, can you? You're kind of like shaving down bumps. Like, how do you reconfigure like the actual shape?
Right. Well, that's all internal. So for the most part, open rhinoplasty or closed rhinoplasty, you're working on mostly everything under the skin. So with open rhinoplasty, you're really peeling back all of the skin of the nose, and you're looking at the, cartilages and the bones. And so depending on what the issue is, a lot of times it's like a hump and it's wide and the tip is wide, so you're kind of shaving things down.
Molding it.
Exactly. Breaking. A lot of times you're breaking
I've
to
heard
bring things
that.
in a little bit. And then, removing some parts that are too big and suturing some other parts that are too far apart and then putting it all back together. Yeah, I think so.
He said, yeah, I think so. Let me check with HIPAA. Let me make sure I don't violate any of my codes.
I just want to see it so bad.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't want to see it at all. Should we tell them the story?
What story?
About the rhinoplasty that never happened?
Sure.
So this is funny. I've always had a bigger nose. I'm Italian. Like, runs in my family. Right. Fine. And so me and you tried to do filler in it and, like, even it out, I think, at one point. So for the first time ever, I was like, I think I want to get, like, my nose done.
Like, days before we
went to the ayahuasca retreat.
Okay.
So we're talking about it, and I'm like, I'm going to call Dr. Tutela. Like, I think I want to do it. And she's like, okay, like, whatever you want to do. Like, I support it. And, like, my whole life I've had this nose, and, like, just now I decided I wanted to do it. Sure. Whatever. We go to the ayahuasca retreat, and the guy that owns the place, he kind of looks like Jesus, and he's kind of like, okay. I don't know how to explain it.
Wait, so, no, he does, yeah. A lot of gray hair, but like still very bright faced and
but he's like very in tune with everything because he does a lot of plant medicine.
He's weirdly psychic.
He's weirdly psychic. Okay, so I'm sitting at breakfast one day. This is a true story, and his profession before owning.
Well, we didn't know this at first, though.
Sure, but let me just preface it. So his profession prior to owning this resort is he owned like hundreds of plastic surgery centers around the country.
Wild. He's not a plastic surgeon.
He's not a plastic surgeon. Right. He's just a businessman.
Business owner. Mm-hmm.
I'm eating breakfast, and he's like on my left side, and I'm just sitting there eating breakfast, and I see him like keep like looking at me, and I'm like, why is he looking at me? And he comes over and he's like, don't get your nose done.
Mm. It was so random.
And I'm like, what?
They weren't even talking.
We weren't talking.
He walked over to her.
Walked over to me and said, don't get your nose done. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, don't get a rhinoplasty. Like, don't get your nose done. And I'm like, why did you just come say that to me? He's like, because the bridge that you have, like, some people get rid of that bridge and then they want it back. And like, you have a strong bridge and like, whatever. He went into this whole thing. And I was like, he's like, just don't do it. Like, you have a great profile. Like, you have a great nose. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, I used to own plastic surgery centers around the country. And I was like, okay, that's really fucking weird. Yeah. So then I came home and I was like, okay, I'm not going to get my nose done now. Like, God told me.
She came home, she said, Jesus told me not to get my nose done, so I'm not getting my nose done.
I love that.
Like, and I'm not even one to like be like that, but like, it's right in front of my face. Like, that just happened. That's real.
Right. You didn't make that up.
I can't deny, like.
She goes, but can I get my teeth done? And he was like, yes.
I literally looked at him. I literally looked at him and I was like, okay, but now I'm like thinking this guy's like the bearer of all truth.
So now just ask everything.
So now I'm like, but I was gonna get some veneers, and he was like, okay. Like, he's like, shut up, lady. I'm not talking to you about that.
Did you ask if we could get a donkey?
I shut up.
Wait, so
don't even. Why is it that all of our friends come over and like
they want me to have
me to have all the animals that on Instagram I very clearly don't want, and they're always on your side. They're like, it's like. They know that
it's gonna annoy you.
Yeah, and bring on the circus. Baby ducks, grown ducks, chickens, baby chickens, kids, dogs. Dogs aren't dogs. Dogs aren't enough.
Dogs. Well, to be fair, I keep seeing this like TikTok, and I don't know if we're on the same algorithm or not, but this TikTok keeps coming up for me, and it's like so many people are remaking the same one, and it's like I want as little responsibilities as possible. And yet I continue to get more and more things that rely on me for their entire life.
And it's like a baby goat drinking a bottle out of your lap. And you're like, but I want nothing to eat. Literally, I've said this before, not to get off topic, but Dr. Tutela will find this funny. Toni's toxic trait, I don't know if you can relate to this with your own wife. I don't want to call anybody out. Maybe this is how she is. Maybe it's not. My wife, her toxic trait is she will complain about what she doesn't want and then quite literally does the things to achieve that. Like, literally, like, it'll be like, I'm so sick of all these activities that the kids have and da-da-da. That day she comes home. Okay, on top of doing competitive cheer, Valentina's also going to do soccer and boxing. And like that's a bad example, but like, because I wanted her to do boxing, but you get my point. Like, literally what pains her the most and what she will complain about in the future the most, she will then set into play.
I'm very toxic.
That's your toxic trait. You don't have a lot. You're a very healthy partner. But that's your one toxic trait.
What's your toxic trait?
Mine? I don't know. My wife is right over there. She's probably got a list of them.
She's looking at it. We love your wife, by the way.
She's like, you know what your toxic trait is?
His wife is very beautiful and we love her. Shout out. What's your toxic trait?
I don't know.
We gotta ask your wife. What's his lack of patience. She just called you out.
I have one of those.
Actually, that's really funny because at work just the other day, I work with a lot of wonderful people, and
Someone told you you're not patient.
they told me, and I get it a lot at work. Dr. Tutela, you're so patient.
You are at work.
Yeah.
And every time I get that remark, I always say, "Can you tell my wife?" And then
That's
so
amazing.
Chelsea, my PA, she's like, "I figured it out, Dr. Tutela." She goes, "You use all of your patience up at work. So when you go home, you don't have any more patience."
That's so factual.
Yeah, and I think it is.
But do you think it has something to do with like at work, like you control your environment, and then maybe when you go home, I'm just relating it to us.
Kids
You feel like
yeah.
you're not in control anymore.
Right,
So
a lot. Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
that's me, quintessential.
Yeah.
I'm like
Absolutely.
you. She will tell you lack of patience. But like,
Nicole's in control at home, I'm sure.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the wives rule the roost.
Yeah.
Toni very much rules the roost at home, but at work, like I had no choice but to be extremely patient because
Right.
the job called for it, and
Yeah.
I can't just go flipping out on
Right.
Vince McMahon. But like, so then I would come home probably with a lot of bottled up yeah, and then when the kids are
And you have less patience.
yeah, I'm on a Zoom call and the kids are screaming and the dog's barking and a duck is quacking in the kitchen.
Right.
I'm like,
You've had it.
everyone
had it.
shut the fuck up.
Right.
That's what happens, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm laughing just thinking about when we couldn't get the audio to play back on the computer an hour before he got here.
Oh, I'm like,
the dog is like walking through, pulling wires out of the computer. The ducks are crying. We gotta move those things. What are we gonna do? The dogs are be barking all the
my first reaction always, and this is my toxic trait, is to blame. I'm not home a lot because I travel for work.
Right.
So if anything is wrong or like anything is misplaced, it's like it had to be Toni and the kids. Like it's never my fault. And sometimes it's like definitely my fault.
Right.
But like immediately I'm like, who touched my computer? Because the audio is playing out of the computer instead of the headphones. And like, who touched it? And she's like, babe, literally no one would have touched that but you.
Right.
And I'm like, well, someone had to.
Right.
Had to have.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
It was.
It couldn't have been me. It definitely was me. Guilty. But yeah, that's mine.
All right, I want to talk about back to plastic surgery.
All right.
What do you think is going to be like, you know how things come in and out?
Fads.
For a while it was BBLs.
Yeah.
For a while it was big boobs. Now everyone's taking their boobs out. What do you think is going to be the next thing?
Trend.
So that way I can be on top of it
Yeah.
ahead of the game.
Look at her.
That's good. So it's interesting because
I'm excited.
the BBL thing was huge and still is, but it took a really peculiar turn where people were really leaving the OR with results that didn't really even resemble, a great aesthetic. I mean, it was like way too big.
I've seen 'em.
on like these tiny legs, and it didn't look.
Yes.
It didn't even look like a person.
What is
Yeah.
I have a question. I'm an uneducated brain here. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't know anything about BBLs. What's the look where you see like almost looks like they have like gel pads in their butt,
Implants.
but there's no side.
That could be an implant. That could be an
so that's
implant.
not BBL.
Well, it's hard to say. Sometimes it could just be done where it's just the back side that's getting augmented or filled.
And you get no hips with it, so it kind of looks really fake, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And so there was like this period of time where it was just like way too overdone, and it wasn't. I think there was also like, since it was such a big trend, you had a lot of people that were like outside of like truly the aesthetic field that
Doing
were
it.
like learning how to do it and just doing it.
Oh.
And it's like,
To get on the money
I'm
train.
supposed to like just suck from here, fill in here, and you weren't really looking at the whole body and all the aesthetic subunits and how they played off of each other.
Interesting.
And so, and I remember going to a lecture, I forget who it was, but it was a very prominent Brazilian plastic surgeon. And he was like, this isn't even a Brazilian butt lift. I mean, like, Brazilian women do not look like this. And, and then he would show, Brazilian women on the beach, and you could tell what the goal was, like what people were trying to emulate. So what was the difference? It was just overdone. It was like just
Too
like
much?
the volumes were too much. And it like became like the bigger the better, and it wasn't really about
Quality.
yeah, or just like the way it all looked together.
Fair. Do you do
know?
BBLs?
I do.
You do?
I do.
What-
And even then, though, I really was kind of like a natural result. Like I was never doing those like mega huge
Right.
transfers. And
Well, it's kind of everything you do. I feel like everything you do. Like, I've never walked out of your office and been like,
right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
all right, so BBLs aren't as hot anymore, but they're still hot.
Right.
But what do you see coming into the...
So I think, like the first half of a BBL is usually 360 degrees of liposuction.
Mm-hmm.
And so that alone, without even doing any fat transfer at all, makes such an incredible transformation. And even like, because it's like 360 liposuction, so front, sides, and back.
Of just the midsection?
Of just the midsection.
Okay.
And just by doing that, some people's shapes, from the back, have their rear end, and then there's like a love handle or something big
That's what I
here.
had.
And when you get rid of that,
You have hips.
right, and then it makes your butt look better, right? Because it's not competing visually. Just by getting rid of this looks rounder.
Interesting.
And you think about like artists that like sculpt out of marble. They're not like adding anything to any of it, right? They're just like taking away marble, and then there's something
Masterpiece.
there.
Yeah.
And so I think that is has always been popular, but I think is getting to be more popular kind of on the back end of like the fat transfer getting
No
less
pun
popular.
intended.
Right, yeah. The back end. Very good.
Going right to my head.
So without the fat transfer, you still have, the lipo sculpture and the liposuction. And so I think together with like, combining that like with a breast surgery together is like a very,
You can
very
really get that good
powerful-
curvy shape.
You get the hourglass, you get the voluptuous,
Yes.
you get all the things.
What about like stomach etching and stuff?
Yeah.
With stomach etching?
Like when you can literally use lipo, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But this is what I think it is.
Dr. Toni.
You use lipo to create like a six pack.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting, and there's a lot of really cool pictures that I've seen and results from very prominent plastic surgeons. I think for the right person, it could be great. Basically what's happening is, let's say you have like a fatty stomach.
Okay.
So you're going to do some liposuction, and then you're going to do a little more liposuction to carve out a six-pack.
Oh.
And now that six-pack that you're looking at is not muscle. It's just like pockets of fat that they left
That's
in the
so
shape of
weird.
a six-pack.
That sounds like it could go wrong.
But if you gain weight,
sounds like
what
if
does
you-
that look like?
It sounds like if
I
you
think-
gain weight,
I
something
think-
could
I
go
think
wacky.
I think there's too much that can go wrong there.
Yes.
That'll just end up looking
I'm
weird.
Is there something
don't think-
else, maybe you know what it is, that girls get, I don't know that guys would get it, when they do something with lipo, and I truly have no idea what it is, where their stomach looks insanely tight.
Yeah.
What is that?
And so some of that can be etching. So when we're talking about etching, right, a six-pack, you're making like vertical and horizontal stripes.
tic-tac-toe board, yeah.
Yeah. I think the horizontal stripes is where you'll get into a lot of trouble. And so like on a woman, you could do some extra liposuction here, right, to kind of make these vertical lines that is usually where there's less fat anyway.
Yeah.
But like it's a contour that just brings the eyes and everything seems a little tighter.
Fair.
And I think that's a safer, goal to try to achieve.
Okay.
But as far as just like any other tightening, there are, tightening devices that in addition
Devices?
to liposuction, in addition
Sounds
to
scary. Like strap you into something and like squeeze your...
I'm picturing the vibrating machine.
Oh, yeah, those.
Right. Well, they have that. But like that just basically deliver energy to the skin. So in addition to doing liposuction, then you could tighten the skin by delivering energy just underneath the skin, and it tightens some of that up.
While you're put under?
Yeah. During the liposuction.
Oh.
Ew. Actually, I've known someone that's done that. Actually.
Yeah. And I think that has actually some pretty good results. Yeah.
Wait, I have a question. Have you ever had anything done?
No.
No Botox, no filler, no surgeries?
No, I'm sorry. Botox, yes.
Okay.
That doesn't count.
Why- I
No,
mean,
but
I'm
it's
just
a
asking.
question. No,
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to only Botox. I don't do it enough. I should do it every 3 months.
Sure.
And my PAs sometimes chase me around and try and get me to sit down, but I'm
Well, it's
always
like the
doing
hairdresser that
something
never
else.
does their own hair. Like,
Right.
you're so busy, doing other people.
But that would be it. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I've had
Guys,
this.
I don't
I've
think
had
get
this little thing
plastic
cut
surgery the
off
way
my.
girls do.
No, they
Yeah.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had this cut off and it came back.
Her too.
I know, he cut it off.
Yeah, I know. I was like, yay.
It's like in the same spot too.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like a little mole here or there, but nothing else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wait, so what do you think is going to be the next thing?
He said the 360 lipo.
The 360 lipo
Like that's
is really, and it's not
in combo
that it's
with the boob job.
new, but I think that will have staying power where the fat transfer is kind of fallen a little bit down.
What about, wait, I have 2 questions. How often these days are you doing lipo without anesthesia?
Not often at all.
Wait, why would you do lipo without anesthesia?
Because it's an option.
It's an option? Who would pick that?
So I get a lot of people who have come from some place like that, and
A lot of places do it.
a lot of places will do it, and it's
Put
can
me
be a
out.
little uncomfortable, I think.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
It's aggressive.
Yeah, I think it all really depends on how much you're going to do. So we just started doing like a limited liposuction in the office, where it's like maybe it's just like this little spot here, or like one little spot here, or even the neck.
Okay.
Because they're like kind of
You can
small
lipo your
areas.
neck?
Yes.
What's that other thing with the neck called? The valva? What's it called? You put the things in, people have
Cribella.
the gobble. What's it called?
Kybella.
I've heard.
Kybella is supposed to kind of liquefy the fat and digest it, but
Oh.
I never really liked it that
So how
much.
do you get rid of the gobble?
Liposuction?
Lipo.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you need to tighten the skin after, or it tightens itself?
No, it depends on how, some people, it depends on each person.
Got it.
Right? Somebody may just have like a lot of fat and not too much extra skin. So when you suck the fat out, it'll kind of retract just nicely. Some people, it's like skin and fat. If it's a lot of skin that's hanging, then a neck lift
Cut
is
it
really
off.
the answer. Yeah.
Cut it off.
Yeah. But you could do things in between too. So you could do liposuction and then try to get some skin tightening out of one of those energy devices.
Oh, okay.
But can
sure.
you do the energy devices not when you're under anesthesia?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Can you do them anywhere?
What do you mean?
Like on your stomach or
Any
something?
body part? Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Fascinating. Have you ever had someone come from a different surgeon and have a horrible botch that they wanted you to reconstruct?
Yes.
What was it? You don't
Often.
say who, obviously.
No, I mean,
What was
yeah,
it?
I often do revisions. So
Really?
a lot of
What's
my
the
work
worst one
is-
you've ever seen?
I mean, it would just be something with implants like either in the wrong place or some skin. I guess maybe the worst one I saw was somebody who came from overseas. Maybe they were in the Dominican when they first had their surgery, and she kind of came in like 4 weeks after surgery and just like had a horrible rip roaring infection. The skin she was gonna lose, and everything looked terrible.
Boobs?
Yeah.
From
So
boobs?
do you stop what you're kind of doing and see them immediately, like surgery immediately? Because you got to cut that out, right?
No. A lot of times you just kind of temporize it and just like make sure the infection doesn't get worse and see what happens. It really depends. Sometimes the implant needs to come out, but
That's so scary.
yeah.
Creepy.
Okay, I'm going to wrap us up here on our main channel because we are going to get into juicier topics on our Patreon. So I hate to cut it short because we love Dr. Tutela. But guys, if you want to hear more of this conversation, every Tuesday we drop exclusive bonus episodes on our Patreon account, as most of you already know. The link is in the description below. Thank you, Dr. Tutela, for joining us.
Thank
and
you.
we are going to just go right over there and continue this conversation.
We are actually, for the first time ever, going to share every single plastic surgery I've had, and we're going to chat
I
about
thought
it.
you were going to say we, and I was going to be like,
You haven't had any. No, but I've had a lot. And I know everybody wants to know what it is because I get asked all the time.
people do ask that a lot.
Yeah.
So we're going to answer all that and more over on our Patreon account. But first, I want to give an appropriate closure here and say thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having
People
me.
are going to love you. We are going to put his business, all the links, his Instagram, everything in the description below. So if you guys are in the Northeast or if you want to travel to get really good work done, Dr. Tutela is our favorite. Always do your own research, but he's awesome. Thanks, Tutela.
Thank you.
See you guys later.
See you later.